Can you hear me?
Good. Yes, we can, Sally. Yay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm at my workstation. I was trying to be fancy and be in my library, but you're going to see my messy family room behind me.
That's good.
I just got a new laptop and I have not done this in Google Meet yet in my laptop. So, okay, I hate to be looking away from the camera the whole time. Is this going to work?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, and are you having the slides up or am I?
You're going to take over, but I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you and everything, and then you can get started.
Oh, yes, then I screen share. Can I
Yes.
just test it quick? I know you've got people on. I'm so sorry to be testing this little crisis at the end here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's going to work. That's good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, hi, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Of course, as you know, we will be recording this session so you can rewatch. And today we have Sally from Copyright and Creativity. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I did send the sign in, and I will put that up again in the chat. Also, please make sure that your mic is muted when you're not speaking. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Sally to our Topical Tuesday.
Thank you. I'm Sally Linford. I have been working on this copyright and creativity project for, oh wow, seven years, maybe, from the beginning all the way through to the launch. And it's been a real party and so interesting for me to learn this critical part of digital literacy that has lately come into all the standards. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but it's really something kids need to leave school to be prepared, even to be a secretary somewhere. You've got to have a basic understanding of copyright and what you're allowed to do with materials that you find on the internet, and also be resourceful, where to go when you need to find something that's free to use, and when you can use under fair use, when you can use copyrighted materials without permission, because copyright has a lot of limitations and fair use is one of those. We'll talk about all of those. I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, well, let's see. Okay, sorry, I've got 3 screens going here. That's not the right screen, right? Can you see the slides?
I see. Welcome. Have a sticky note.
Great. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll skip this because we're basically, if we had a little more time, would have you doodle a sticky note, so a little doodle, because one of the things we'd like to emphasize about copyright is that even a doodle you sketch on a napkin at a restaurant, that without doing anything, it has copyright protection. And you don't have to register with the government. You don't have to put a Circle C on it. Everything we create that is written down, recorded, or saved in any form, even a doodle on a Post-it note, has copyright protections. So if you are, oh dear, so let me go back to here. If you want the slides, I put that bit.ly link up there. So if you want, yeah, you can go now or go later. You don't need to have the slides, but if you want them, CC, that's Copyright Tuesday. That's our bit.ly link for this presentation. Okay, just to let you know that a quick overview, Copyright and Creativity has a full suite, K-12, of resources for teaching copyright. And I want to emphasize, you do not have to know anything about copyright. I mean, I know you know a lot about copyright already. Let me just ask quickly, are you librarians? Are these all kinds of teachers? Who do we have here?
Media specialists.
Okay, great.
So copyrights.
Okay, that's great. You're our favorite people because you know what you're talking about already. So this is really great news. I won't have to give you all the details, but I do want you to understand everything you need to teach copyright at every grade level is in these resources. All of our resources carry a Creative Commons license. So you are free to use and reuse and mash up however you like. We do ask for attribution. So our resources, we have lesson plans, slides, videos, and the heavy lifting of teaching copyright where it gets complicated and more difficult, like teaching about fair use. It's very hard to talk to a fifth grader about fair use, but it really can be done in a simple way that just gives them the notion and helps them understand the basic idea. Copyright gives a lot of protection to the creator, but it also has limitations, and that's what we try to do. We have a very balanced curriculum that shows all sides of copyright. There is a PD course for teachers, and we'll take a look at the website in a minute, and then supplemental materials, infographics, and other things. Now, I just wanted to ask quickly, well, I know you're going to know a lot about copyright. We'll skip that. What is it you want to learn today? Did anyone come today with questions that they're hoping to have answered about copyright or teaching copyright?
I think going over school-wide movie views is important.
Oh, school-wide movie views. Okay.
And also photocopying books and workbooks and
Okay.
those types of.
Yeah, so both of those are in the fair use category. So when we get back to fair use, remind me. I'm not going to be able to give you specific legal advice because I'm not an attorney. But I can give you some general ideas. And everything got shaken up during COVID, and then the streaming services. I assume you're kind of asking about streaming. Can we get into our Netflix account and stream? And we'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so why teach copyright? More and more, all the standards groups are including not just copyright, but fair use and Creative Commons as basic knowledge that students need to have before they leave school. And also, not understanding copyright as teachers, can really get you in trouble. And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. The library media specialists are you're the ones getting the questions, aren't you? But this is just a quick example. In Texas, this school district was ordered to pay $9.2 million in copyright infringement lawsuit. And I'll just give you a little bit of the details. An AP class, an AP teacher decided they wanted to photocopy. There's this kind of folded out big fabulous summary for, I think, the AP American History test. And then the principal thought it was such a great idea. I think they copied and sent it to all the AP students in the district. And it was very highly creative work. Somebody had put a lot of effort into it. The purpose of the work was for education. So that if it's for education, that doesn't necessarily mean you can just copy it as you like. Anyway, $9 million from that school district was actually really tragic. Okay, here's our approach. We like to be positive in teaching copyright. We do not like to give, waggle our fingers and say, don't be a pirate, none of that. We want to emphasize copyright is emphasize the kids' own roles as creators and help them understand when they make something even on their phone or on their iPad, that has copyright protection. And as creators, they get to decide some of these important things, how it's going to be used and shared and reused. We also like to have all of our lessons include practical information like how to share and reuse legally, and also how to find work that is free to use. Here is one of the introductory videos that's just gives very basic. We use this in optional for 6th grade, middle school and high school lessons. Well, here, I'm just going to play a little bit of it for you, and you kind of get the idea. And if there's no sound, can you hear that?
Technology is awesome, isn't it? Not that technology. I'm talking about the revolutionary technology invented hundreds of years ago called the printing press.
Dude, that looks old.
Oh, it's old. 600 years old.
Before Gutenberg's printing press, if you wanted a book, someone had to copy it by hand. Only the richest people in the world could afford to buy books. Most people didn't have access to creative work at all. But the printing press changed all that. For the first time, mass production of books became possible, and big ideas could spread fast. An author could finally reach a mass audience, but also, for the first time, an author's life's work could be copied and sold by anyone with a printing press. Does that seem fair?
No way.
So, in 1710, the British government passed the Statute of Anne.
No unauthorized copying of a book for 14 years, with the option to renew for another 14.
By the way, unauthorized means without permission. So authors had time to earn some money from their work before it fell into the public domain. The idea was to encourage them to keep writing, which means even more creativity. Nice, huh?
Nice.
Fast forward 60 years. When it came time to write the Constitution, guess what? Our founding fathers included copyright.
To promote the progress of science and useful arts, by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries.
What?
The Constitution gives Congress the power to pass copyright laws, and as a result, authors have the right to get paid for their books and to decide who gets to make copies.
That makes sense. If you put in all the time to write a really good book that people want to read, you should be able to get paid for it.
And printing books was just the tip of the iceberg. Now I'm talking about your phone. In almost 600 years since Gutenberg's printing press, copying technologies have advanced from copy machines to tape recorders all the way to the internet and your phone. It's easier and easier to copy and distribute creative work all the time. And it's no longer just writings. Today, all it takes is just a few clicks to copy everything from music to video to software. In a world where copying is so easy, we still look to copyright to keep the creativity flowing.
So what does this mean for me? What does it mean for you?
For starters, it means you get a lot of control over your own work. When you make something, a story, photo, novel, poem, song, video, dance, Instapic, tweet, app, video game, even the doodle you drew on your napkin at lunch.
Sweet.
If it involves creativity and is written down, recorded, or saved, then it's protected by copyright, and in general, you get to decide who can make copies, distribute copies, display or perform the work in public, and make spin-offs. We call these.
Okay, I'll stop there. Now that starts very granular at the beginning, but we found testing and talking with students that copyright feels very random to them. They're on their devices and everything comes into them is at their fingertips, and grounding it in this very old protections that were provided to authors makes it feel helps them understand how important and relevant it is to how our whole society flourishes, how creativity flourishes in a society. So the rest of that video is just a couple more minutes, talks about the very specifics about copyright, the four basic rules of copyright. If you are a copyright aficionado, you know there are actually 6 copyright basic laws, protections, but 2 of those are like how something is streamed versus presented in public. So we collapsed the 2 that are similar so that we only have 4. We felt like we lose nothing because kids don't care if it's streaming versus broadcasting. There's separate protections for that. So we've condensed it into 4 to make it easy to understand. And it actually is quite simple. Okay. As we just went through, anything that is written down, recorded, or saved. So the important part of this is an idea that pops into your head. That idea does not have any copyright protection. And if you tell it to your friend or in a room full of people, it still does not have copyright protection. It has to be written down, recorded, or saved in some way. Now, here are, I hate to skip a lot here, but let's jump to fair use. There's a 4-factor test that was established in 60 something that has stood the test of time so well and been so robust that all the courts hold on to it very faithfully. And you have to take these four factors, put them all together, and kids can, and if you ever have a kid who's had something put up on YouTube and they put music with it and then it's taken down, or you can, and I've done it myself more than once, submit a fair use claim to YouTube, and you use these 4 factors and you evaluate what was the purpose and character of my use. Is it something highly creative and new and different from the original? Then that's more likely to be a fair use. What is the nature of the original that I'm copying? If it's super creative, like Harry Potter is the example we use in one of my favorite videos we have. Super creative, then the more you pull from that, the more protected it is. If I just have a video that's facts about fungus, that's not as creative, and so that's less likely to have copyright protection. Amount and substance. Did you use just a little bit of the work, or did you use the whole thing? Or if you only used a little bit, did you take the heart of the thing? So the heart of the thing makes it more, taking just the heart of the thing makes it more likely to have copyright protection. And the effect on the market. Is this a textbook? Okay, so to your question about can we copy and use chapters and pieces of textbook? If your thing you want to copy was created for education, this 4th factor, the effect on the market, is going to weigh very heavily. So if this is a novel created for general use and you want to copy a novel, a chapter of a novel, and you're only taking a portion of it, and your copy is not going to replace the original in the marketplace, and it's for a purpose, important purpose, like education is really the most highly favored purpose, you have a strong copyright claim. If it's a chapter of a textbook that makes it so your students don't need to buy the textbook, that's 2 strikes right there. It's the effect on the market will be significant. And if you're copying enough of it that then they don't need to buy it, the purpose is education, so that's highly favored, but those other factors are going to outweigh when it's something like in the Texas example, something specifically made for an AP class, and then it was copied and given to the AP classes. That was like 3 strikes, then they were out. So you evaluate all those, and you can look at your own situation and say, I mean, if you think there's a lot at stake, you can contact every district has an attorney, and I'll just prepare you. Attorneys prefer to say no, so you can give them your suggested fair use claim and they can say yes or no to you. But a lot of times, especially for education, fair use favors education. Okay, so if you want to get into, let me see if I can just go into copyrightandcreativity.org and choose the grade level band, and you'll see, let's see if I go like this, does that take me? Okay, can you see my screen still?
Yes, we see the
Okay.
slide that says let's explore resources.
Okay, so a couple of things. The elementary school has all the lessons, the PDF of the lesson plan is right there. Slides are right there. All the videos, I'll just click into the slide. The videos that you need to teach the lesson, these are very, very simple lessons. And I'll just tell you, before 3rd grade, we don't even speak the word copyright. It's just help kids learn about attribution. In fact, kindergarten lesson is one of my absolute favorites. There's a fabulous, all the kids respond to this activity where they They make some art, and then they put their name on a sticky tab on their art, and then the teacher puts the art up and changes all the names around, and then you have a conversation. How does that feel to have they come in and they just discover it by themselves? It's very remarkable. Let me go back here. And from all of these, from the resources tab, you can navigate to all the resources. Middle school has the lessons broken into 4 sections. I'll tell you, in middle school and high school, lesson 1, in high school, the lessons are ABC. In the middle school, they're 1, 2, 3, 4. Lesson 1 is meant to be, if you're only going to do one, you sort of get an overview of everything in lesson 1. Lesson 4 and lesson C, the last lessons, have lots more detail and fun, super fun videos about fair use and examples of fair use. But in lesson 1, you'll see, and maybe I can show you. I want to show you especially at the bottom, these supplemental materials. So you can teach right out of these lesson pages. Here's your PDF, here's your slides. Everything we produce, we drop in a Google folder. So you can just pull our Google folder into your Google Drive and run everything from there, or you can run it straight from the lesson. I don't want to run out of time here.
Sally,
Yes?
we're still seeing your slide that says let's explore resources. Did you switch to another tab?
Okay, can you not see where I'm in the middle school?
No. I see the let's explore resources at copywritingcreativity.org.
Okay.
If you go up to the top of your window, it should say share this tab or share this window instead.
Oh,
Otherwise-
thank you. Thank you. Share this tab instead. Oh my goodness. So whoever asked that question, thank you. I'm just like talking to the walls here. Let me go back. If you click on our logo, that takes you to our homepage. This pop-up, we put new stuff in the pop-up. We have office hours. We have a training webinar coming up in January that will go through, and we'll have real librarians, teacher librarians who are using our materials now and present for us in their states. And you can always get on our office hours. And then if you want our infographics, we have some stock of infographics we're happy to mail to you. If you want them for your classroom or library, you can just go here. I'll show you. Go into this tab. Here are the infographics. They're actually very wonderful. When we go to conferences, we have so much interest in the infographics, and a lot of people want them, to ship more to give to friends and colleagues. Oh, oops. Now I'll go back. So in middle school, here are the 4 lessons, and you can teach right out of the lesson page. There are the slides. Here's the Google Drive, and all the materials you need for everything in the middle school lesson is right there. And if you go up a level, you can take the whole K-12 curriculum, videos included, the whole thing, and just pull it straight into your Google Drive if that's the way you like to do it. Down in the supplemental materials, we have presenter instructions, these 2 infographics. This free speech infographic I just love because it shows you the connection between copyright and free speech and fair use, and how they feed each other to produce more and more creativity. Then it goes through this little flow chart of, can I use this? Is it old enough to be in the public domain? Yes, then use it. No, and all the way down to the 4-factor test. And I really love that infographic. Okay, I'm going to go. There's one more thing that I think is critical. I really want to show you, even for yourselves, or if you want to pull from these for your class. These are our independent learning videos. And the lessons, we basically produced these little cartoon people, and some of the videos that, like I showed you, are core videos that teach the basics. They're woven in here too. But so you can assign this at home, or you can play these videos in the class. Most of the videos are integrated into the lessons. But just for yourselves, if you want to kind of give yourself a refresher on copyright, you could just plow through these. You see how short the videos are. By the way, we don't include, these run times do not include credits. The credit time on the videos is very long, so it'll look like a 15-minute video, but it's really a 6-minute video or something. Anyway, if you go through these independent learning videos, I just watched in preparation for this Copyright in the Real World, Permission Not Required, and Copyright in the Real World. Those are going to answer your questions about fair use, so you really get a solid understanding. And the examples here are so fun. Dude Perfect, Taylor Swift. Remember when Taylor Swift pulled all her music on Spotify and Spotify said, oh, whoops, didn't mean to do that. And, you know, gave her, but she gives some quotes to the media that are really helpful for kids understanding the purpose of copyright and how it's not just to benefit the billionaires, it's for them as well. Okay, we're running out of time, and I want to make sure I can take your questions. We get a lot of questions from teachers about plagiarism versus copyright infringement, and it's actually very easy to conflate these two, because you do a lot of talk about plagiarism, but they're actually very different. You can be perfectly cite everything perfectly, give everyone all the credit they need and deserve, throw out some applause, and still be deeply infringing on someone's copyright. So these are two separate things. You can also, you can plagiarize. You can be within copyright law and fail to cite, and then you're plagiarizing but not infringing on copyright. So those two things. So for a quick example, student writes a blog, pulls images from a photographer's website. She gives, careful to give full attribution. What is that, infringement or plagiarism? Anybody want to chime in? Thank you, Marie. Infringement. Thank you, Kendra. Student A gives permission for student B to use several paragraphs of a story she wrote in his story with permission. Is there a copyright for infringement? Yeah, if she turns that in, even if her friend, thank you, Marie, again, if she turns this in as her own story, even if her friend gave her permission, that's plagiarism. So you see how those two kind of, it feels a little bit of like a competition between them. It's just nice to be clear on that when questions come at you, because kids are funny about that. Okay, this is my last example. We've been lately getting so many questions about AI generated work. And I'll tell you right out the gate, the courts have not adjudicated the cases. Like cases will filter up, and at some point the Supreme Court, but even before then, the lower courts will have to make rulings. But there is nothing I can tell you about I'm going to give you this one example to tell you how the courts have been lately about creative work that is not produced by a human. So this is the funniest case. This photographer thought it would be cool to give a camera to this chimpanzee. I think it's a chimpanzee. And the chimp took this picture that you're looking at right now. That is his own picture. Well, he published this and people thought it was great, and they took this picture and used it, and he sued for copyright infringement. Oh, you can't see the picture? Gosh dang it. Hold on. Thank you. Share this tab instead. I am so sorry. This is actually my first time presenting in a Google Meet. I just only done Zoom. Can you see this chimp? Somebody just give me a nod.
Yes, we can.
Okay. It's actually quite a darling picture, and you can see why people wanted to use it. But so the photographer sued for copyright infringement. It was his idea and it was his camera, but the courts ultimately ruled animals do not get copyright protection for their creative work. For maybe that sounds LOL, yes. Maybe that sounds unfair to you, but the problem is their creativity is not really being expressed, right? It's anyway, this chimpanzee took this fabulous picture, but it does not have copyright protection. So from that, we're sort of thinking, theorizing, AI generated work. If it's not human, I mean, the problem with AI is it's pulling from, so can you use it? Yes, no copyright protection for this. By the way, all the government, oh, I wish we had more time. There's so many exceptions. Anything produced by the government, all the NASA photos, everything you find at a .gov website doesn't have copyright protection. Anyway, if you have, I'm happy to stay. I know our time's up, and I'm happy to stay as long as you'd like to. If I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to do that. But thanks so much for joining me. We especially love media specialists because you're our best copyright heroes. Here.
Well, yes. Thank you so much, Sally, for your session. Does anybody have any questions for Sally?
I put Dana. I'm sorry Dana couldn't be with you. She's in the hospital. But I put our email addresses, and I'd be happy to respond to emails. Thank you. You guys are all so generous. Thank you. You know what? I forgot. There was one thing I forgot to tell you that I think is pretty important, because sometimes you are tasked with teaching your colleagues. So, or maybe you just want a refresher yourself. We have this professional development course. If you do the course and you need CTE credits, we'll send you a certificate if you just email us. And you get a badge. Oh, I don't have the badge here, but it's a copyright ethics badge. And it's on Canvas, or if your district has a Ludo, we have gamified the PD course in a Ludo. But if you go to Canvas, it's right there. That's Dana. You can see in the picture. Oops, I'm figuring it out finally. There's Dana. But here's the course. It's a short course, just probably takes about maybe 2 hours, 2-3 hours to do. Anyway, if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, if no one has any questions for Sally, thank you again for joining us on Topical Tuesday. Oh, Alonzo has a quick question coming in the chat.
If a teacher bought a class set of books, you can turn your sound on and ask if you want, and wants to copy a chapter. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm happy to read here. Okay, you bought a class set of books, like you bought a full set, like you bought 30 copies of To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, the kids can't take the books, huh? Okay, so I can't give you specific legal advice, but I can walk through the 4 factors here. So I'll just say, and the teacher wants the kids to read chapter 4 at home. Okay. The number one thing that really appeals to me in this whole scenario is you own the books. So what you're going to do does not replace your purchase of the books. Okay. So that is really highly leans towards approving a fair use. Your purpose is excellent. You want the kids to read this at home. Let's see, 2 purpose. Those are the 2 that, the amount and substance. You're sending home just a chapter. You're not copying the whole book. This whole scenario seems very highly favored, especially since you bought the books yourself. Now, I will mention, there are alternatives possibly to copying the chapter. Like go into Google Books, like books.google, and see if you can pull up that chapter and send a link. Maybe there's somewhere online where this chapter lives. I mean, if your goal is to let the kids have an experience reading that doesn't involve a screen, then bless you. But if that's not your goal, and you just, I mean, there might be, that chapter might exist legally online somewhere that you could send them to. So I would do that. So if this were my scenario, first of all, I would write down my plan. I'm going to do this, and I thought about fair use. Your intent, if anything you do ever shows up in court and you have made a record, just a little journal entry about, I think this is fair use, and here's why, and then you somehow end up in court, and that intent, you have evidence of it in time, that's very strong defense, and it protects you to show that you have considered fair use. And part of that would be, I looked somewhere online to see if I could find it so I could just give them a link. I would just throw that in your notes, and then you've done your due diligence. I repeat, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just walking through the factors, and I think that seems very strong to me and favorable towards fair use. Oh, and here's a video. Oh, yes. Okay. Record is great. Yes, just keeping if you keep notes somewhere in your calendar, I did this, and that will help you if you ever need to defend yourself. Okay, thank you. You guys have been lovely. You have lovely icon pictures that I've gotten to see here. And Victoria, your library looks beautiful. Anything else?
If there's no more questions, we're just going to go over a few housekeeping, and you are free to carry on with your day. And again, thank you so much for such an informative session. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And you know what, if you decide, I'm sorry, I keep throwing, if you decide you want to do a Zoom presentation with your school or your district, our ambassadors are happy to help with that. If you want to, I'm the curriculum developer, so I don't normally present. We have real teachers who present to real teachers who talk about their experience in the classroom, but this is all funded, so it would be free to you to have that happen. So let us know. Just send an email to me or Dana, and we can help arrange that if you want. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
All right, so I'm just going to go over a few more things. Give me 1 second. All right, so on January 8th, we're going to have a professional development day with Wise Up Digital and Adobe. We're going to be going over digital portfolios and using AI in Adobe Express. Also, there will be breakfast and coffee sponsored by Adobe. It will be at the McKesson building, which is here with us, and you can sign up in e-learning. So it's going to be a really great session, and I hope to see everyone there. We have 2 new additions to our Gale databases. For elementary, there's Nat Geo Kids, and for high school, Gale in Context Literature. And there will be Topical Tuesdays coming up in January for those databases. If you haven't done so already, please consider joining Emma. It is a great resource to connect with your fellow media specialists and share information. And of course, tag us on Twitter. We want to hear all the wonderful things you're doing in your media centers. And of course, register for Topical Tuesday. You can get up to 20 points. There is a follow-up activity in e-learning. And our next Topical Tuesday for the new year is January 9th, and it's for elementary school specialists. And it's Nat Geo Kids, the new addition to Gale. Robin will be with us on that day. And that's it. This is the last Topical Tuesday for 2023. Thank you so much for everything that you do. We really appreciate all of your hard work and dedication. And It won't be Robin. Sorry. Stephanie said I didn't know. But thank you for everything. And is there any other questions? If not, have a great afternoon. I'll give you guys a minute.
And we will see the new media specialist on Thursday at the district office
That's true. December 14th, we will.
in Thurber A and B.
Yes. Thank you for reminding us, Amanda. Laura, you have a question?
I do. It's about the copyright and showing movies at school with the streaming services and everything. I know there's the Swank site that we can use to purchase licenses, so we have rights to show some of the movies and stuff. But is there a way that that can be purchased district wide for all of the schools to have protection versus each school having to purchase that themselves?
No, unfortunately, the funding comes from the school side, not the district side.
Okay, I just didn't know if there would be a better buying power, as a district, to do it versus each individual school.
Right, I get it, but it's a funding issue.
Okay, thought I'd try. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Excellent question. Any more questions? All right. Well, thank you for